Hi, it's Glenn Dietzel here from sellhighpricedprograms.com. Many people are coming to us today because they understand the importance of knowing how to create their front-end program or service properly so they can truly leverage it to build really, really high-end programs and services where they're actually not only the gatekeeper of their industry, controlling that marketplace, but most importantly, they're selling the highest-end program and service. I'm going to share with you now in this video a very, very, very important principle that I want you to understand. In fact, what I'm going to share with you, I can almost positively guarantee you that you've never seen this before. And so I'm in front of our whiteboard here in our international office, and my focus on this business coaching video is to show you what you must understand when it comes to making real money online. You see, so many people today everybody's coming to the internet today that wants to sell their information. They want to make money online. But most people don't know how to do it, or they're listening to most of what is being taught online today, and they're listening to the wrong people because they are outdated. In fact, I'm going to show you that right now by showcasing to you in front of our whiteboard what I mean by the X strategy versus the Y strategy, and most importantly, how to build income off the Y strategy and why the X strategy simply doesn't work. So follow with me right now. What I'm going to first of all do is, if you're not familiar with the X strategy, something that I teach in a special program that I'm running right now. It's a webinar that I run. It's called Accelerated Strategies for Building Cash Flow with Your Intellectual Property. Now, I don't want that to scare you, but all of us have intellectual capital. All of us have experiences, and we have what I call what's between your two ears. You have all kinds of information, but it needs to be put into a system. But most importantly, right now, what I want to show you is why the X strategy. And what do we mean by the X strategy? Well, remember I shared with you, and if you haven't seen this before, we talked about the X strategy business funnel versus the Y strategy business funnel. And if you're not familiar with that, that's all the more reason why you should get on that educational-based webinar or watch a previous video that I've done. We're going to focus on these two, what we call here the Y strategy versus the X strategy. And this is a strategy that I don't believe in. And I've shown you that before on another video, why that doesn't make sense. In fact, I'm going to show you now a different way of what you need to understand about creating an online product properly. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to draw a y-axis and an x-axis. If you remember from your school days, the y-axis is the vertical axis, the x-axis is the horizontal axis. And I want to show you a concept that I teach all the time to my clients. It's called the shortest path to big profits wins. The shortest path to big profits wins. But before we move forward here, I want to label our axis, so we'll call this revenue right here, and we'll call this axis over here time. Now, I want to show you what the X strategy business funnel looks like, and what just about every so-called product creation guru teaches. In fact, many of them are following me right now. And many of them are actually clients of ours in terms of helping them redesign and re-engineer what they're teaching about how to succeed in today's highly competitive world where 30% of the internet is new all the time. 30% of the internet's new all the time. So you need to know how to stand out with all of this information, all of this competition coming online all the time. Now here's what the X strategy looks like. Remember we talked about the shortest path to big profits wins? And you have points here, and then a point here, a point here, a point here. And this reflects what I called the X strategy coming through your highest end program and service. And this might represent a $497 program, $97, $49, $27 program. And this was our X coming up here, and we wrote a dollar sign. And I'm writing a dollar sign again right there to show you this is what most people teach today, and there's different levels. And I've shared with you on a previous video, especially in the webinar, some powerful statistics of why this doesn't work. But I want to take a look at this right now. This what I call linear growth. Linear growth is not great enough. It's not fast enough. In fact, let me show you what I mean. Today you see this online all the time. Somebody launches a program. A week later they launch another program, but instead of getting the same results, they get a line that looks like this. Then they launch another program and they get a line that looks like this. And then they get another line that looks like this. But they don't tell you that. They keep getting these lines, but the lines are actually closer and closer and closer to the x-axis, the time axis. In other words, the amount of revenue generated decreases. If you take a look at these spaces right here, these little what we call angles in math, or the decrease in income or revenue over time, that's what I call greater sameness. Greater sameness. What do I mean by greater sameness? This. It's one of our speed to market principles. Greater sameness will not get you better results. And this is exactly what's happening today. And so you've got so-called gurus, and this is what's happening to their income over time. And most importantly, what's going to happen to you if you're following them. Greater sameness is not going to get you better results. It's the reason why today, when people follow this, they're getting very, very little income generated. And so each of these points here, greater sameness, will never get you better results. And what's happening is over time, you're getting virtually no income being made. And so you see people today promoting this, that, and the other thing and having to hype things even more and more and more. This is the reason why you need to know how to create your front-end product or service properly. Why? So you don't face this. And what I call the big problem that I see with this, and I'll call it this right here. If you look right here at the end, this is the end of the profit potential for that front-end program. I call it flatlining. Let's spell this again, flatlining. The problem with the X strategy is not only does it support this whole notion of greater sameness, will not get you better results, but it produces flatlining. It produces a minimum income, and it produces it on a long time frame. Remember, the shortest path to big profits wins. This path here is too long. The Y strategy, on the other hand, follows something totally different. In fact, I'll draw it as a different color here. It follows, remember, our inverted business funnel, our Y, and we have what we call Y to the N, accelerated cash flow. Y to the N is an accelerated term that you will have remembered. Not go back and consult your math books from your elementary school days. Y to the N, Y to the exponent N. Remember, on a previous video I showed you up here $27,000 leading with a front-end program and service. Not like right here where you're leading with a $27 product or service. And what do we see on our revenue versus time graph? We see this. In fact, I'm going to draw this out in purple, and you see accelerated growth. And so your front-end product or service is down here. And in fact, instead of starting down here at 0, you can start there at 0 by moving the free line and giving away your material at no cost. Or in the instances, in many instances with our clients, we teach them how to start way up here with a $27,000 program. So we'll keep lines like this here to show you the gap between here. This is obviously not drawn to scale. And then accelerated growth off here, right off the video that you're watching right now. But this is what we mean by accelerated growth rate. This is what we mean by the shortest path to big profits. What I want you to see right now is that the X strategy does not work because it focuses on linear growth, a straight line. It's too long, doesn't meet the shortest path to big profits wins. And most importantly, it falls prey to you and myself many years ago, listening to this mantra, following other people, and assuming that what they are doing works, when really what we see is greater sameness is not going to get you better results, and we see a flatlining all the way where eventually the flat line comes right down to and touches the x-axis or time axis. You never make any money. I highly recommend that if you're serious about making money online, if you really understand the importance of business coaching, that you really understand why flatlining is the enemy to the X strategy, and ultimately, in order for your business to succeed, you need to understand how to build cash flow. And that means knowing how to create your front-end product properly so you can, as we talked about, the shortest path to big profits wins. There's a little distance right here between the front end and back end, knowing how to accelerate your cash flow. What I'd recommend that you do right now is that you register for a content-rich webinar that I'm doing right now in a limited time offer to have access to me, where I can show you even more specifically what you need to understand about creating your front-end program or service online in what we call speed-to-market fashion in order to generate massive cash flow. Remember, the shortest path to big profits wins. The answer is the Y strategy, the accelerated cash flow. You can either use the URL on the page that you see here on this video, wherever it's located, at the end of this video on this page, or you can also phone our international office if you need anything. And our international office is 519, our number is 519-542-3043, 519-542-3043, and I think someone's phoning me right now, but they're actually phoning me on my cell phone. So anyways, make sure that you take action. I look forward to working with you. And please, please be very careful who you listen to in the online world today. Hi,